चल हो जा शुरू।
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो पतवारा हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो पतवारा हुआ रे।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
Right, so a lot of bilateral talks which did take place in the backdrop of the geopolitical tensions, specifically the Russia-Ukraine war and even the Israel-Hamas war that rages on for over a year now. We have Patikret Pen joining us. He's a strategic affairs expert. Patikret, good morning. If I can get first your quick thoughts on your takeaways from the G7 summit, one, and also how do you see the UK-India trade deal, the FTA deal materializing in the near future, given that the UK elections is just a month away? Do you see the deal materializing in the next few months?
Are facing political uncertainty back home. So the strongest leader in this entire summit is perhaps Prime Minister Modi, who is coming back, who has come back in his third tenure, and of course Giorgia Meloni, the Italian Prime Minister. The rest are all having political uncertainty. And there's a huge contrast between many of the G7 countries, their priorities, including Russia-Ukraine war, or funding other wars, vis-a-vis the reality of the challenges that majority of the countries of the world faces, which I think Prime Minister Modi highlighted most profoundly in terms of being the voice of the global South and talking about issues related to challenges of inflation, food security that many of these developing countries face as a result of conflicts that are happening in between Russia and Ukraine, as well as in Middle East. So far as the UK and India free trade agreement is concerned, I don't think it's going to materialize so soon. I don't think Rishi Sunak is in a position to show that he has been able to sign that FTA, which I think UK is desperate to sign, because against the backdrop of their exit from European Union, they are desperate to have some kind of a trade agreement with India. But there are a lot of issues before this deal has to be signed, which the British government will have to solve, including the issue of the support. Unfortunately, at least from certain sections, the secessionist forces are getting in UK, which are inimical to India. So I don't think it's going to materialize before the upcoming elections. On a larger note, let me tell you this: the G7 today, as it stands, deserves a permanent candidature of India. G7 today has given shape to G20 as a more prominent organization to give shape to global issues. Many of the G7 countries, in terms of GDP, don't even come among the top 7 countries of the world, economies of the world. So I think G7 Prime Minister's presence actually proves that while the G7 countries remain as they are, they realize the importance of countries like India, which have emerged not only as a successful economic model, the 5th largest economy, on the verge of becoming the 4th largest very soon, but also as the voice of global South, taking forward issues which matters to majority of the developing countries, which unfortunately I believe many of the G7 countries often tend to ignore, and focusing more on conflicts which they should have tried to solve instead of fueling it more. Back to you.
Yes, Patikret, another point that I wanted to mention here was the formal talks, the bilateral that the Prime Minister even held with Justin Trudeau. It appeared to be a very formal talk, given what was seen in those visuals that surfaced. Do you think Khalistani extremism is something that could have been taken up by the Prime Minister in his small talk with Justin Trudeau at the G7?
Well, when you go to such multilateral forums and you meet leaders of other major countries, you generally, exchange courtesies. So that kind of formal talk is normal. But I don't know whether serious issues have been raised or not. The relationship between India and Canada is not certainly at the best of the situation. But when it comes to Canada, look, the Justin Trudeau's party has strong political ties with another party over there, which has allegiance to certain organizations or secessionist organizations which support Khalistan movement. So Justin Trudeau, I don't think will honor or agree to any of the issues that India is raising or would be raising in the future also. I think this talk was extremely formal, merely exchange of courtesies. Yes, I'm sure Prime Minister may have hinted out or sounded out some of the issues of displeasure that India has been witnessing for quite some time. Whether the Canadian counterpart would respond in affirmative or not, that is a question mark, because Canada's foreign policy or issues related to Khalistan movement has been in question for a long time, and I don't think Trudeau will change it so long as he remains in power. He would be in the denial mode. Back to you.
Yes, all right. Appreciate you speaking to us. So that was Pratikrit Pain, Strategic Affairs expert, giving us his insights on the G7 summit. Of course, a lot of bilaterals that the Prime Minister did have. But the question is, were those pressing issues, specifically the Khalistani extremism and the FTA talks, were raised with his counterparts or not? Not